Hello, everyone. My name is Yuta Jazz, and we are going to continue the Occult Saga podcast, where I talk about spiritual philosophy, a little bit about on the existential side of things, as well as we're working up to talking about actual spiritual practices, how to do healing, remote viewing, lucid dreaming, rituals, a bunch of stuff. Um, yeah, so today we're talking about Lightworker traps because I'm getting pushed and guided to do that. And it kind of stood out to me in the whole entire list of like topics that I have noted down to do some talks on. And when it comes to Lightworker traps, I have a lot of like opinions and personal ideas and experiences even, many fucking experiences, but I can feel that a lot of it is going to go on a mute point and in general isn't going to be mentioned. I don't know exactly where this is gonna go, but I feel like there's just going to be like a channeled message, more so experience with this podcast episode. So it helps someone on their journey in the spiritual awakening or ascending sense, but um, doesn't necessarily completely relay all of what I believe or know it to be, or all of my experiences, because some of them got real woo-woo. But all, all all of it was real, but it's just not necessary, I guess, to cover. Besides that, I guess a little announcement just because it feels pertinent. If you ever want to actually like live chat about this type of stuff or have conversations and bring them up and just like have a debate, besides commenting down on this video or any of the Cult Saga podcast videos, you can also jump over to Twitch where I do private readings. Well, not private, sorry, personal readings. I wanted to say personal, not private. And we do talk about divination in more detail, spirituality, perspectives, different perspectives from different people pop up, and everyone has like a little bit of a say. The only people that get disrespected are people that get triggered and mad and disrespectful. And even then, it's not really in a sense of disrespect. It's like mute point, conversation stopper. Um, so yeah, if you're not really into preaching and or arguing or, kind of being disrespectful, that's where we can have more conversations, even if opinions are different or oppose. But yeah, besides that, lightworker traps. So I guess it's kind of in the name. The point of a lightworker trap is to siphon energy, harvest energy, and to trap light, to tap it in a way, to get, I don't know, whatever results the trapper creator wants. There's many different types. Sometimes it's just feeding a certain person or entity. Sometimes it's kind of rebalancing the scales of abundance. Other times it can be feeding an actual like astral contraption and or place or space. Uh, Sometimes it can be to, do certain like portal magics. Uh, I guess Destiny Swap is a big one as well from it. Uh, yeah, Destiny Swap timeline like I don't know, messing with timelines in general. There's just so much that you can do there that is just yeah. But primary thing is anything can be a light worker trap. It can be a person, it can be a server or online service, it can be an app. It can be a video, it can be a movie, it can be a space or a place, either physically or metaphysically. It can be anything. I guess you could have an attachment that is working like a light worker trap, keeping you in a certain modality of experience as well as a certain like state of mind and emotional like being, and it's, doing whatever it's doing there, which can keep you attached to something or to just siphon your energy. I hope I don't need to warn anyone that this may be triggering, because the name already should tell you that this isn't going to be a fluffy, nice episode. We're going to talk about dark magic basically and how someone might want to try and use you to get power and or energy. Because light is the most important, valuable commodity in creation. Everyone has light, everyone has consciousness of light within them. Everyone comes from love and can be of love, but not everything chooses to be of love because you need to be quite genuinely authentically you. You need to be also okay with who you genuinely authentically are at any point. Even if you're in your darkest shadow or whatever it is, you still have like that capacity or point. It's just beyond a certain limit. You don't really exercise it at all anymore. You're not a part of the dance of light or life. You become something that is void of it or trying to siphon it and kind of eventually you might extinguish it doing that, right? You gotta play in light or be a part of it or whatever. Besides just being born from it, you gotta realize it and accept it, 'cause yeah, that's just how it works. But light traps are many and different types. I very much always am strong in condoning the point that, like, be mindful where you spend your time, what you give your attention to, and how you feel about it. Because if you are getting a high, if you keep doing it, if it becomes an addiction, if it becomes like a repetitive experience or cycle or loop, especially one you don't like or you can't control yourself. It can be a sign that something might be trying to siphon you or to get you into a certain experience of where like they're taking more than they're giving. A lot of spiritual communities online that are chat rooms and or servers or whatever that are like collectives for light workers, star seeds, and all the rest are usually, not all of them, I'm not going to say all of them, but usually can have a bit of a thing going on where they have light traps, light worker traps, or they might actually be like the whole thing is made for that entire purpose. That's quite common. Besides that, you can have spiritual practitioners be that as well. A lot of the time, you need to be careful who you let into your energy or who you go to seek out for certain spiritual services, if not basically all spiritual services, because you don't want them to be an energy vampire, right? You don't want to be a reoccurring client to a place that's literally not for your highest good and is not healing you. It might make you feel a little bit good or okay, but honestly, it's kind of like you keep needing to go back to have any level of stability, and it's very much short-lived, and over a longer course of time, you can see that it has like negative effects on your health, mental well-being, or otherwise, right? You can also even have fake spiritual experiences through this modality, either via people or specific spaces, places, or, as I said, like online communities and collaborations. You might think you're having spiritual experiences of either healing or ascending, but actually that has been manipulated or implemented to your awareness. You might just be having like this weird messed up dance with some type of entity or being or person, and in actuality, they're taking your energy, your light. They're also possibly attaching some shit to you. They're keeping you kind of in a place where it benefits them more so than it benefits you. If anything is keeping you out of the actual truth of awareness and healing for yourself and how that is for you, if it's taking you on a crazy ass ride, if it's basically kind of shifting or malforming you into like a different version of you that's not real or not really authentic, if it's kind of like a space or a place or community where drama never actually fucking ends, that's also a sign. Extremes between like dry spells and there being like a lot of activity, like a shit ton of weird ass fucking activity, is also a sign that it could potentially be a space that is trying to siphon energy. Because it's easier to have like this wave up and wave down motion than to just have everyone kind of peaking and tweaking at a high level, because then you can have this period of regeneration, putting everything back together to have an experience again that kind of feeds the whole motion and narrative of like, hey, whatever happens, right, and then that kind of charges some people up or something up. So yeah, it really can be everything and anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be like demonic or anything, although a lot of people might think so or say so. No, it can be literally fucking anything. It could be just like a very selfish, egocentrical person, right? That is all about them and having a point to their sustainability and sustenance, and they don't know how to live self-sustainably. They only really know how to use other people and live off of their backs and necks, right? It could be a very fucked up, traumatized family that kind of got to a point of not really progressing forward within their family lineage and karma. And so they either use one or a few members of the family to actually keep everything together, keep the family unit together, which is always, for some reason, just stuck in the same traumatic loops and the same conversations and obsessions. Arguments never get sorted or fixed, they only extend over time, having more of a burden, and it kind of all is just sinking in, and no one's being really happy or themselves. That can dig into many different aspects of it. There, there can also be a thing where certain people are kind of kept out of advancing within those dynamics, so they don't really ascend into their highest potential, but instead they get stuck with whatever whoever those people are, i.e., either a family or a friendship group. Soul family can do the same. Um, Old best friends. In general, like this kind of format is very common within people where you think there's like very strong bond together and everyone's on the same page, but really it's a little bit one-sided. It's just there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and manipulation in between of all of that to keep you feeding the paradigm and feeling attached, and like maybe at some point a little bit of stuff changes for the benefit of something, right? But overall, you don't actually feel any better. You might start feeling worse over time, especially if you yourself are improving or advancing, or elevating and ascending. Those places start going out of your vibrational norm or just livelihood, and you can't process in those spaces or within those relationships no more. You can start getting pains, significant severe pains in specific locations of your body. You might have emotional loops or breakdowns or obsessions out of nowhere, and they keep getting stronger. You might get weird metaphysical experiences, like some phrase keeps being called to you or shouted to you or told to you. You keep having a premonition that doesn't make sense if you really look at it, like from the, foundational basis, like it's not really yours or it doesn't matter that much, but for some reason it keeps occurring. Dreams, like recurring obsessive dreams that aren't a vibe, that is actually like, you dreaming yourself into, I don't know, whatever it is you dream yourself into most of the time. Could be about also specific people or feelings or experiences and places. Yeah, there's a lot of signs that there's just like such an archive of possible experiences and signs when it comes to light traps and why they're being done or how they're being done. And honestly, over time, you realize how it adds up or doesn't. But you do need to obviously be a person that's constantly like evolving and expanding and growing. Um, because obviously anything can be mixed up or misconstrued, right? You could be, let's say, experiencing illness because you're actually purging something out and you're removing an attachment, right? But at the same time, you could also be experiencing that because you're ascending and removing yourself from a certain space that is actually sending that to you or making you feel codependent with it. And so, like, you experience illness in a different sense. Can it be doing both at the same time? Yeah, it can. That's why it's important for every person to not freak the fuck out and then just learn a bunch of crap and then be like, oh, this is what it, like, checks the boxes of just because I read this book or listened to this, streamer or watched all of these movies and videos and etc. or went to this event and class, but rather the person themselves needs to figure out what are the signs of different aspects occurring or what is the bedrock of any experience, because sometimes they can overlap like two circles, right, in a graph. It also can be a case of like one feeds the other. And it depends on where you are in your journey and what's occurring and why is it happening, because it could be a multiple step process where you could be leaving a light worker trap as well as ascending and also releasing and purging all at the same time, right? And it's going to be a gnarly fucking half a year of experiencing that and all of the signs and this is like symbols that are pertinent to you understanding that are going to show up only to you. They're not going to be necessarily easily explained away. You might need to sit with that information until it properly clicks in. So, just because I'm saying that there's a bunch of things that could potentially be a light worker trap for you or anyone else, or whatever, and in general, doesn't mean you need to jump to the instant early possibility of that's how it is for you. Look at yourself first to understand where you could fall into the possibilities or the paradigm of it. Because if it's a case of you have an addictive personality with a codependency of obsessing over drama or obsessing over critical unhealthy communication styles, as well as just collaborating with toxic ass people saying like this is just life and I'd be bored if I wasn't here, then it's not necessarily a problem with the light worker trap. It's actually a process where you need to look into yourself to make different choices and decisions to then move away from it, right? If you want to, for example, blame away your family at everything, right? But you've never tried to actually see where either they're coming from or if there is a possible rapport of a, healed relationship or more boundaries set or some type of paradigm with that, maybe it's not the best thing to jump into cutting everything or everyone off, right? It depends, because sometimes extreme measures need to be taken depending on your particular circumstance. But at the same time, you can't just be like throwing blame around and saying like this is the thing, because usually light worker traps can work also to the benefit of the individuals that are being used or milked for light there, basically. You might be needing that space to realize what you're growing out of and how you've been attached to certain dynamics or experiences, maybe to pass the time by, maybe to have value, maybe to search for something or for people or meaning even, right? Maybe to have a crazy ass experience and ride in having intense astral or spiritual or whatever faith-based like conversations and etc., right? Maybe that was your driving force. Maybe you were, interested in metaphysics to the detriment of actual like rationale and humanity. It could be absolutely anything, and usually light worker traps work like anything else that isn't for your highest good and trying to like, attach to your siphon your energy. They're aiming at a wound or they're lining up with something that is like an open spot from you, like a weakness in a way, but I don't like using that word because it kind of has implications, and I don't like saying it in general. I prefer saying like it's an open spot to where you need to give it attention instead of having it like your blind spot. So you can understand where it's coming from and why it's happening instead of having it ignored, and then something wriggles its way into your reality and energy and experience and is like, oh, I'm gonna fill this void. It's like you can fill your own void. It's not always easy coming to that, the description or understanding or acceptance, but it is that process of where we're going, all of us at the end of the day. We're filling our own voids, we're finding our own space and place in love, and most of the time it's just an inside job within ourselves with ourselves. And then it can radiate out as a different experience outside because there's a level of actual like resonance, right? Vibration and frequency shifts and changes. So in this case and sense, it's just a case of Lightworker traps can be something that you just fall into and get used by, but it can also be a great, amazing place where you elevate yourself in another way, which is crazy. I know. I'm not condoning them. I'm not gonna say like they're good in any sense or they're a positive, but I am gonna say like they are something that can grow an individual to understand where they still have codependency, where they are attached to unhealthy behaviors or beliefs or understandings or emotions. It's a great place to learn about different types of magics, especially if it's like the unseen world via people that aren't spiritual, because energy stuff still happens. It doesn't need to be with spiritual people. Or it could be, a big community that's actually spiritual, and you see different walks of people with different experiences, different modalities, and you learn everything you need on how things can be done or taken or created, which still is a gnarly experience and ride, but it's better to be aware and to know rather to have never known, right? To never have been exposed to unhealthy experiences like that. If you get better from it, if you heal, and just have like one, two bad memories, you honestly have grown past something that was a big limitation keeping you in the dark previously. So, yeah, I'm just checking if there's anything I'd still kind of like to mention about Lightworker traps. I feel like I might leave out a few things accidentally, um, because it's just, I don't know. It's a simple to the point thing. It really is. I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. No, I think that's good. If you want to figure out what your, light worker trap is, working in your life currently, look at the next thing that really piques your, what the fuck is that word? I can't remember the word, but it's usually used for people explaining like sexual energy in a different word, in a different way. That's not gonna give like naughty associations, but I can't remember it. Um, Look in the next thing that really piques your emotional responses at a really high volatile like level and then leaves you feeling tired or zapped or isolated or meaningless or purposeless. That will be a sign of something that is like a vortex in your life that's taking more energy than giving you energy. And then ask like, why are you keeping it in your life? What are you subscribing to that you don't need to be subscribed to? And if it is something important to you, if it's a big community, I wouldn't recommend staying there. I would say get out and create your own community. If it's a project, creative project, I'd say get out of it. Even if it's a job, just get a new job. But if it's something like friends or family or partners, and it's not really that bad on the surface level, or whatever the excuse or situation might be, I would try then to see like, okay, how can we maybe face this and improve this and fix this distortion, right, or this imbalance, and or how can you improve yourself and heal and take this along with you if it wants to come with you. Don't drag it, don't attach to it. Just be like, you kind of, either come with or go, or stay here, and you kind of need to go your own journey. Either, have it as a direct like experience to the best possibility, or have it as a telepathic conversation, just like a mental note or experience, because we're all connected and something always is happening in the unseen world. What you think, what you feel, how you talk to it in your head, in your own space or free time really matters, because that can set the tone for how real life occurs. So it doesn't necessarily need to happen in real life right away, physically, materialistically. Sometimes it can just happen unsaid, and then you can see how life has taken a different turn or twist or whatever. And you can take accountability for yourself, but you can't really take accountability for other things or external aspects to you, right? And it's just a case of like you need to do what's best for you. So yeah, question, see what's up, and figure out where you are going from here next, I guess is my best recommendation. Because yeah, no one deserves to be in a light worker trap, regardless if it's friends, family, um, I don't know, big collectives, collaborations, meditation circles, churches, even churches of different sorts, whatever your faith is, could potentially be one. Not gonna lie, gonna be real on that. I've seen some shit, I've heard some shit, and it's definitely scarier if it's something consciously masquerading as something that it's not. I think that's just the bottom line of it being the most dangerous possibility out there, is if it's something that says it's of light, but actually it could be a worship to, I don't know, some eldritch horror bullshit that's taking your energy, or it could be just full of a bunch of fucking cultists and witches that are also siphoning energy from faith and believers. Be mindful, be careful, question everything, because the good will not ever have a problem with that. Eventually, it'll roll out into a good experience or scenario or some type of mutual understanding or just respect, instead of it being like vaguely hidden bullshit that is not for, anyone's highest good. So question, don't be afraid of that. You'll never go wrong with that. Even if someone gets upset, that's their fucking problem, not yours. Why should you be in trouble for asking questions that are important for your well-being? That's just. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed the shorter episode. I've kind of wanted to do quite a few short episodes. I just never get around to doing it. So I'm glad this one turned out shorter. If you have a topic recommendation or questions, feel free to please post them in the comment section below. You can also do that on my Twitch or in the Discord, to which you can get only through the Twitch. I'm gonna keep it that way for a while. I'm not quite sure why I want to keep it that way. I don't know. I think it's just a extra step that can be like a healthy precaution for the Discord community that I've hosted, because I am very particular about keeping that place chill and not having like unnecessary tension or members or energy coming into there, because yeah, I just want to have it as a healthy healing place. But if you are seeing this and hearing this, you are welcomed. You just need to go to my Twitch when I'm streaming, and yeah, and type in exclamation mark Discord. Besides that, you can find out when I stream by following me on my Twitter or Blue Sky, I think is the name, like bsky.com. It's like the new Twitter. But it's like a fucking butterfly. It kind of does feel like a better space and place if you've quit Twitter or are not a fan of it anymore. That place is still kind of all right until maybe it will not be. Hopefully, it kind of stays high vibe. So, yeah, that's all I have for me. I hope you're having a good day, wherever you are, whatever you're going through. I wish you peace and blessings and miracles, and I will see you next time for whatever I post next. So, peace out. Have a good one.